Hi guys, welcome to Totally Speedway's 5th weekend review. I'm Totally Speedway's publisher and editor Daniel Powell. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We've certainly had a lot of action overnight and a lot of action even this morning. So I'm down here at Blackwater Bay. I'm holding my phone. I'm wearing my Toby Balboan hat. Looks really cool. Thanks Toby for that once again. But yeah, so I'm using that. So hopefully I'm looking at that. News that just happened as of about 10 minutes ago. Kerry Madsen, our own Australian, picked up the World of Outlaws win. He picked that up win just before at Salina Highbanks Speedway in Oklahoma. So he won that just then. So that's it. Believe that's his first World of Outlaws win for the number 2M car. So that's really awesome and great to see another Aussie winning a World of Outlaws feature on the world stage. So he just defeated Donny Schatz and Brad Sweet. Kerry's younger brother Ian ended up 6th. So yeah, well done there. Great stuff. Just gonna try and get this because I'm trying to walk around and hold this at the same time and trying to speak to. And yesterday they had a World of Outlaws round at Lakeside Speedway. So that's in Kansas. And Brian Brown Blackjack, who celebrated his birthday during the week, he ended up taking a World of Outlaws win. Sheldon Hudenschild, that was his best finish in the World of Outlaws. He was 2nd, and Donny Schatz was 3rd. So Donny Schatz naturally continues to lead the point standings there for the World of Outlaws. Yesterday, the best of the Aussies was Kerry Madsen in 5th. Ian Madsen was 11th. Brooke Tatnell and Linton Jeffrey had DNFs, and they were scratchings from today's World of Outlaws round. So, sorry, I've just dropped my tripod. Just bear with me. This is live action as we speak. So going back to last night's racing. So I had the racing at Sydney's Valvoline Raceway. They managed to fix all the problems that was there last meeting and with the track, so there was no cancellation. The rain held off. It was a very cool night, but a lot of action was going on. So unfortunately the night was brought to a premature halt in the A main for the 410 sprint cars with the development series. That was round 1. Young Adam Hurigan rode out a massive wreck. He was impressive all night. He was running 2nd, and Darren Salmon, another sprint car rookie and former Australian Lightning Sprint champion, had slowed rapidly. Hurigan had nowhere to go, rode his wheel on the main straight and rode out a big wreck. Unfortunately, that ambulance crew, he's fractured some vertebrae in his neck, and that required the ambulance and obviously due care taken, and unfortunately the feature race for the development series was cancelled, and that put an end. But it's good to report that Adam's in good spirits. He's still in hospital at the moment at Westmead. He's filthy that he's wrecked his car, but the main thing is that he's okay. So Adam certainly he's a second generation racer. His dad Scott ran many years ago back in the 90s, and Adam himself, really doing it on a tight budget. And sorry, I'm just getting attacked by, I don't know what's coming out of the trees. So just bear with me with that. And so thankfully Adam's in good spirits. He's going to be on the sideline naturally with the damage to his neck, but thankfully he's okay. Cars can be replaced, but the health of the drivers and the well-being. So but one driver that was really impressive is a sprint car rookie in Chris Street. Chris has only raced a couple of times. He had one run last year. And he's originally from New Zealand. He's moved over here. He's got a fabrication business in Wetherill Park, just right down the road from where Mark Cooper's is in Sydney. And he was impressive. He was quick from the outset. He showed he looked like he'd been racing for a long time. So, he's a gun fabricator and all that, but he's also proving quite the racer himself. So, that was unfortunate. It was really good to see for the development series. The development series was really Drop bears, sorry, we got that. The development series is really, it's been something that's been needed in Sydney for a long time to actually see that happen and see the drivers growing in confidence. Sure, some of the drivers were making mistakes and spinning out, but they were actually fighting for position and gaining a lot more confidence as opposed to running up the back. So this is a great thing. There's 6 rounds this season that's going to be held, the development series, so it can only be a good thing. A lot of drivers were, Adam Hourigan certainly showed a lot of promise. Obviously his night didn't end the best, but he's Luke Streeton was driving really well. Courtney O'Hare, Aaron Wright, that's the Global Racing Team's team owner. He drove well. Unfortunately, he had a crash flip in the heat. Darren Salliard made his long-awaited return. It's been 11 years since he raced a sprint game. Between that, he's done some V8 supercar racing. He showed, he showed that he wasn't afraid. But yeah, obviously running a bit dated gear sort of thing is going to be. Just seeing what's happening. There's so much action happening down here at Blackwattle Bay in Sydney. Everyone running around and things dropping out of the sky, out of the trees. With that, so Darren Salliard done really well. He stayed out of trouble. There was a few hairy moments, but I think all in all, the development series, although it's been a long time coming, it's great to see the drivers get more laps, grow in confidence, fighting for track position, so it can only be a good thing. In the other racing last night at Valvoline Raceway, unfortunately the late models were scheduled to run their 30-lap feature race after the 410 sprint cars, but that never happened due to the ambulance and obviously the delay, and it beat curfew. So unfortunately the late models, you had Darren Kane. He travelled all the way from down from Queensland, so he had to go backwards, go home, sort of thing about the feature race. But it was a really good format with the late models. It's really good that they're doing the American way, having the time trials and one heats. And as a lot of the drivers said, I would rather get a 30-lap feature race than as opposed to an extra heat race. So they're happy with hot laps and time trials, and then also getting the one heat and the 30-lap feature. Unfortunately, last night it came down to a crash that no one could have imagined, but the driver's safety is paramount, and that was unfortunate in their feature race. But no doubt that their feature race will be made up later in the season. In the wingless sprints, they had their second outing at Valvoline Raceway leading up to the Australian title that's going to be held there in February. There was a massive field. There was drivers from Victoria, Queensland, that all came to get early laps. From Victoria, you had Travis Miller and Luke Wheel. Both of those drivers were really fast. You had Glenn Wright from Queensland. He was quick. He picked up a heat win. He had a really hairy moment in the first heat, but where he biked up. But there was plenty of action amongst the wingless sprints. There was 50 plus cars. There was 2 rounds and 5 sets of heat races throughout the night. And in the end, it was Jeff Thomas. He's making his return to racing this season after, obviously, he was injured last year, and that brought a premature end to his season. So he ended up picking up the win. Second was Harley Smee, who had won the previous weekend at Goulburn. And then third was Luke Sayer. For Luke, that was his second podium third place finish in a row. He's really had a consistent start to the season, and he's naturally going to be one of the front runners come the Australian title later in the season for the wingless sprints. In the other class, we had Michael Stewart in the speed cars. He's had 3 starts now, 3 wins, so he's keeping this streak alive. He's certainly had an amazing start to the season, undefeated. A lot of pressure comes with the more you win, the more pressure that you get. So Michael's just taking every race meeting as it comes, and he certainly couldn't ask for a better start to the season. And also it's a great lead up for when he goes over to the International Midget Series in New Zealand and runs there over the Christmas New Year period. So that was great. On this occasion, Michael was defeated Regan Angel. Regan Angel is a driver that's only stepped into the class last year. He's from the Central Coast in New South Wales. He ended up second. So just going through my notes here, I just got them all mixed up. So Regan Angel was second. Robert McKay was third. So he done really well. Gary Rooks, so that a lot of people might know him from 410 sprint cars and also running non-wing sprints over in the US as well. So he ended up 4th. That was probably his best drive in a speed car here in Australia. And 5th was Reid McKay. So a really strong lineup. You had guys like Matt Jackson and Caden Brown. They ended up in 6th and 7th. Didn't have the strongest of nights, but the conditions last night were really tough. It was really hooky. It didn't really go slick. Naturally, this was the first meeting with the infield being brought out to the pole line. So yeah, but it's only going to get better with that. There's also, what I noticed, speaking to a number of track photographers, naturally, they weren't too happy about the fact that the wall is now restricting photography. Like, not the drivers can't stand on the wall. Naturally, it's not America where they can do that, but they're actually, they can't really take any photos now. It's really restrictive for that, so a number of photographers are finding it hard. But it's true, there's a lot of tracks like that in America. Toowoomba's the same, but Toowoomba's got probably a bit more banking than Parramatta, so it makes it easier. But naturally, it's all about the photographers just adjusting to that and trying different angles to try and get the best shots. But naturally, it's going to come with challenges straight up. So so we got, and last night at Moama's Heartland Raceway on the Victoria New South Wales border, I really need like a tripod like they do with the TV crews, just to hold my phone, so my arm's going dead. But I'll continue to push on. So that was round 2 of the Eureka Garage and Sheds 410 series there. Jamie Veal proved to be the fastest on the night. He put it on pole position, was leading up until the middle stages and then dropped out. So that was unfortunate there. So he had it pretty much in the bag. They were saying that he was really quick there. But the win was taken by David Murcott. He was driving for the Matt Easton Victory Lane race gear team. So they've signed up to do World Series this season. So they picked up their first win of the season. So Murky was able to benefit from the misfortune of Veal and collect the wins. So second was Matt Dumsney, the Sydney sider. He was really happy with that to end up second. A lot of these guys travelled overnight and drove back overnight. Now they've probably just arrived back in Sydney earlier this morning. So Matt Dumsney come away with second. Third was Rusty Hickman. Rusty ran second in round 1 at Avalon behind Veal, but he had to do it the hard way. Rusty came from the B main. He ended up third in the B main, started from position 15 in the A, and made his way forward to complete the podium in 3rd place. A lot of people were saying that that was probably one of the best tracks that they've had at Heartland Raceway, and it was really good racing. It was unfortunate what happened with Veal, but Rusty Hickman certainly put on a show from the back of the field, so he's certainly one to watch out for. Tim Hutchins continued his consistent start to the season. He ended up finishing just off the podium in 4th after starting 4th, so well done there for Tim, the Tasmanian, who's based his team here on the mainland. Glenn Sutherland picked up 5th after starting from position 8. Former Eureka Garage and Shed Series champion Brett Milborn was 6th. 7th was Marcus Dumsney, probably one of his best runs for this season of his career. He ended up 7th in the feature race after coming from the B main. He ended up 2nd in the B, so him and Rusty Hickman made their way forward. 8th was Jai O'Keefe. Jai O'Keefe obviously coming back from a big break, obviously injuring his neck in a crash last season, so he's growing in confidence and building up that confidence, and he ended up 8th after starting from position 12. Jake Smith and Charles Hunter rounded out the field, or the top 10 finishes there. So a really good night. It was unfortunate for Jamie Veal, but everyone was saying that it's probably one of the best Heartland Raceway tracks that they've seen, and that's testament from Rusty Hickman to be able to charge his way back from the back of the field to finish on the podium. So a great drive by Rusty. So that was with that. Also, as today's Camp Quality charity race meeting at Nyora Speedway in Victoria, that was going to have wingless sprints and a number of supports, V8 modifieds. That was unfortunately cancelled due to the weather down there in Victoria. So that was, and as you know, earlier in the week, Toowoomba's High Tech Oil Speed, I was going to call it Charlton Raceway, that's its old name. They were going to be having round 2 of the Ultimate Sprint Car Championship at Queensland. So unfortunately that was not run because Queensland had been hit with a lot of bad weather. But you see now today with the V8 Supercars on the Gold Coast, and it's sunny, so it's terrible one day, beautiful the next sort of thing. So with that, then Blackwater in Central Queensland, they had their meeting cancelled earlier in the week as well. So yeah, so we've got that. We're still plenty of racing. I'm just going through my notes. Murray Bridge Speedway in South Australia, they ran last night. There was wingless sprints, speed cars, AMCA Nationals, Formula 500s, street stocks and junior sedans. They looked like there was problems with the transponders or something. It was hard to see because I was unable to get a number of the feature race results. In the wingless sprints, it was Michael Spoljardik, I think that's how you say that. He picked up his first win. Anthony Tapley was second and Brett Ireland was third. Speed cars were doing some demonstration. There wasn't a whole lot of them. I think there was 4 or 5 there on the night. Brett Ireland, Todd Wigsell, he's stepping into a speed car and doing some racing this season, so those guys were running. The AMCA Nationals, Jason Robinson picked up the feature race win. Darren McCarthy, the former Victorian champion, he was second, and Leanne Turner was third. Leanne Turner, many might know, was a podium finisher in the mid-90s in an Australian street stock title, so she's certainly got a good pedigree there in racing. So yeah, in Formula 500 street stock and junior sedans, I saw the heat race action that I was able to find on the MyLaps and Race Monitor and that, but I was unable to find the feature races, so I apologise for that, not able to bring that. Then down in Tasmania, Latrobe's Gulf Western and Independent Oils Raceway. It's certainly a long name there, and you can't really even abbreviate it. So yeah, so Gulf Western and Independent Oils Raceway, but that's cool that they can get some major sponsors to that. So the 410 sprint cars made their first appearance for the season down in Tasmania, and it was Jason Redpath who come up on top. The Redpath's obviously a famous name with the speedway circles down in Tasmania, and yeah, Jason got his season off on the right foot with a win. Second was Mark House. So Mozzie House, a former World Series contractor driver, a number of years ago, he ended up second. And Jock Goodyear, so many might know him from Formula 500s last season. He's 17 years old. I think he's still 16 technically. I'll have to confirm that, but I think he's still 16. But he made his sprint car debut last night. So he was doing double duties, running the Formula 500s and the 410 sprint cars. So he ran the 410s sprint car last night and ended up putting it on the podium in third on his first night out. So an amazing effort from Jock Goodyear, and certainly showing his potential as a youngster. And he's certainly one to watch. It's going to be exciting to see Jock Goodyear. He's got a good family support behind him. He's just a good kid. He lets his racing do the talking. Very shy, but certainly not shy out there on the racetracks. So yeah, he completed the podium in third. Kurt Smith and Michael Parker ran 4th and 5th respectively. In the other classes, the wingless sprints, Luke Redpath, who's the current Tasmanian champion and Australian number 2, he continued his great start to the season with his second win from as many starts. He won the feature race. Jeremy Smith, one of the regular front runners, was second, and in a career best drive for Troy Lewis, he brought it home in third place. So a great effort by Troy and a great confidence booster to be able to snag a trophy out in the second outing of the season. In the Formula 500s, the guy we spoke about earlier, Jock Goodyear, he ended up picking up the win. That was 2 wins from 2 starts for Jock this season, as well as he got a third place in the 410 sprint car feature race podium. So he certainly worked hard last night, and that's great to see. So Nick Kingston, the former Tasmanian champion, was second, and Rick Weverall was third. In the other classes, Jason Cox in the late models, he's a former Formula 500 racer. He picked up the win in the late models. Brad Smith was second, so Jason obviously done really well in the late. And the late models are starting to grow down there. They have about half a dozen cars down there, but they're starting to grow. Brad Smith was second, and Leon Nichols, who ran third in the previous week's, or the Carrick Speedway opener, he was third once again, so Leon Nichols. In the street stocks, there was Ben Riley, who picked up the win. Second was Dale Riley, and third was Craig Weaver. 3-time Australian street stock champion Brad McClure from Victoria was running on the night. He was guest driving in someone, I think it was the Tasmania number 74 car, and unfortunately he was unable to finish the feature race. But it's great to see street stocks. I've got a huge following of 20 plus cars there. There's good regular car counts down there, so that's good to see. In the junior sedans, it was Jaden Triffett who came away with a win. Jesse White and Jacob Jetson was second and third. So we've got here, just checking my notes. Just bear with me. I need a teleprompter. I've got to invest in one of them. Okay, then we've got, sorry, just going here. The South Australian 360 sprint car title was held last night at Broken Hill Speedway, which is in technically in New South, well, it is actually in New South Wales. South Australia, and Chad Eli, a former Australian 360 champion, as predicted by myself, he came away with the win. Local Brendan Gurin was second, and third was another a former South Australian title holder in Jamie Hendry. He was third. So, and in the support classes in the wingless sprints, Jay Brown won, Jason Bolifo, I think that's how you say it, was second, and Melissa McMillan was third. Then we've got last night also Darlington's Midwestern Speedway down in Victoria. They had their season opener. They had speed cars on the program and Formula 500s for their opening round of the Stampede Series. And the Stampede Series, it was Chris Bellman who drew first blood in the series. Second was Andrew Ray, and Stephen Van Ginnigan was third. There was a number of drivers that had raced a number of other classes but were making their Formula 500's debut. So Stephen Bell, obviously he's had a number of cameo appearances last season, so he was back out there. James McDonald came back. He's voted Totally Speedo's sexiest driver, or whatever you want to call that. He'll love that. I'm sure he still sleeps with the magazine. But yeah, James McDonald came back. So he made a comeback to Formula 500 racing. Jason Loft, a current Australian Speedo kart champion, he made his Formula 500 debut and done really well. I've got David May, who's run everything from V8 dirt modifieds to speed cars to compact speed cars, mini sprints. He has stepped into Formula 500s and ran. Phil Millica, I think that's how to say it. He's out of wingless sprints, or used to race wingless sprints, and he's in Formula 500s at the moment. Former Australian AMCA national champion Mark Manners Lincoln, he made his Formula 500 debut, so he was out there. So really interesting range of drivers from diverse experience and different classes that have joined the Formula 500 ranks this season. And so in the speed cars, it was Ashley Booker picked up his maiden feature race win. Ashley, he's a former Australian GP midget champion. The joys of being in a park where dogs are going crazy. So just bear with me with that. So Ash Booker ended up winning the feature race in the speed cars. Second was Mick Parker, and third was Glenn Shaw. Glenn Shaw was originally, he's from New South Wales, but he's down in Victoria these days, and he ended up third. There was a number of rookies, second generation racers in the speed cars. So there's Toby Smith, who's the son of Shane Smith, who's a long time speed car racer. Got Dylan Gent, who's the son of the son of Peter Gent, who's raced for many years in speed cars. So that was great to see, and it's great to see all these new faces, and certainly keeping everything the blood flowing, the bloodlines of Speedway flowing. So family's everything in Speedway, and that certainly helps this sport continue to grow and stay afloat. So we've got that. So that sums up everything from last night. Just to repeat, Kerry Madsen about half an hour ago ended up winning the World of Outlaws feature race, so that was awesome to see, flying the flag for the Aussies. This week coming up, I'll be doing the Q&A. That's on Wednesday night at 7:30. Then we'll have the weekend preview. That'll be on Friday, and then obviously this time next week we'll be doing the weekend review. So thanks everyone for your support and tuning in. I was out at Sydney's Valvoline Raceway last night, and a number of people saying it's really good, they're really enjoying it. Just have a quick video wrap of everything that's happening in Speedway. So if anyone comments, feedback, please like, share, comment, do everything you can to help me promote this, because I enjoy doing it, and the support from everyone's much appreciated. So what we've got, the Conversations program is going to be coming up next week. So that's going to be with a track promoter. Once I confirm everything with that, I'll be sitting down next week. So last week we had Jamie Oldfield. This week since we do it every fortnight, I'll be having a break. But next week we'll be back again, and we'll be doing it with a track promoter. So I'll be sitting down and having a chat with one of the country's leading track promoters, which I'll reveal very shortly. So thanks once again for everyone's support. Please like, comment, share, and I'll see you on Wednesday night at 7:30 for the regular Q&A. Thanks guys, see you later, bye.